I don't think I've ever experienced anything scarier than being in graduate seminar when I was getting my master's degree in dietetics. And I don't know if this is the same at every university, but for us, it was everyone who was within the College of Agricultural and Life Sciences. So there were fashion and textile design, there was dietetics, other degrees. We all came together, got in a room, and basically we had to critically analyze research and present it in front of everyone else within our college. But it was only to people who were master's degrees, PhDs, graduate school. And in my first year of my grad program, it was really intimidating because I had never been in a seminar like that before. And the first couple weeks were basically the people who were highest along in their education, the PhD students, presenting on research about whatever. For some reason, well, I know why, but a lot of people were presenting on human milk studies. That was a big point of study at my university within my college. But basically what would happen is you would find some research, and depending on where you were placed along the presentation schedule, you'd spend a couple weeks to a couple months really getting to know that research and preparing to present on it to the entire class. But it wasn't just presenting on it like you read what they said and you read their conclusions. No, you had to critically analyze everything. So you'd have to go in depth on why they even wanted to study this, look into the background, look at everything that was relevant to what they were looking at in the research. You'd have to go over all of their materials, their methods, what was their actual study design? Was it the best study design for what they were trying to look at? So you'd have to specifically look at what machinery did they use, what techniques did they use, why did they use those ones over different ones, present on that. If it was a study on the gut microbiome, did they use shotgun metagenomics? Did they use a different type of genotyping? Why would they use that one over the other one? Why is that more relevant? Why does that give more accurate conclusions? Was there self-report? Were there surveys? How long were washout periods? Did they use the right type of t-test when doing their statistical analyses? Then you have to look at what were the author's conclusions and did they align with the actual data that they synthesized during their research? And I'll tell you right now, a lot of the time, the conclusions don't line up with what they actually did. Then, after doing all of that, knowing the study like the back of my hand, we would have to present in front of everyone, where they would then critique us. They would notice other things about the study and question you. Why didn't you call this out? Why do you believe this was the right thing they did? And your ability to demonstrate the expertise and knowledge around this study and answer everyone's questions directly impacted your grade. That presentation was the biggest thing you were graded on the entire semester. So there was potentially 4.5 months of build-up and preparation time just for one 40-minute presentation. And I'm telling you, no matter how much you think you dug deep, there was always more to uncover. And in my program, if you got below an 80% in the required classes, you had to retake them. This was a lot, but that is exactly why it was so valuable. Through my graduate seminar, I learned to critically analyze to the tiniest detail research. And while I don't go into everything with that level of detail every single time I read it, I am extremely grateful that I had to do that as part of my program. And if there's anything that will give you a feeling of competence in your education, it's having to do that.